Yeah, I think only you can.
All right, I just started recording.
Okay. Let me know when to start. I mean, I know we only have a couple of people in here.
Right, I'll say it's 3 on the dot, so let's say 3:02. We'll give everybody till 3:02.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for Sandra to come back. There she is.
Admitting one more person, and then I think we could go ahead and get started.
Okay. Just Sandy, go ahead and you can just keep looking at the people waiting, and then I'll
Yeah.
focus on this. All right, cool. Hi students, thanks for joining us. My name is Daisy Rodriguez, and I am a member of the Empowerment Zone. A little bit about me is I currently work as a counselor assistant at a school in Spanish school in Maywood, specifically with the college counselor, helping students through the college application process. But I also provide support to the other academic counselors with either, day-to-day activities or just planning events wherever I'm pulled. And I'm also right now a grad student at Cal State LA, where I'm on my way of earning a school counseling master's degree and marriage and family therapist training.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sandra Taylor, and I am the CEO of Empowerment Zone. I also work for Grand Canyon University as a university development counselor, which is a fancy word for admissions counselor. And yeah, that's me. I have my master's degree in public administration. I graduated from UCLA along with Daisy. And got my bachelor's degree in African American Studies with a concentration in sociology. We both hopefully we get some good information to share with you guys today. We were both first generation college students ourselves, so we'll be speaking from experience, not just some stuff we got offline. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna have you guys introduce yourselves because I want to hear. And if you're not afraid of turning your camera on, please go ahead and turn your camera on. But at the very least, unmute yourself so that you can tell us your first and last name, what school you attend, and what grade you're in. And we're gonna start with Daniela.
Hi guys, I'm Danny. I attend Maywood Center for Enriched Studies and I'm a rising senior.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna just go down the list, okay, you guys? Noemi?
Hello, my name is Noemi Alvarado and I attend Maywood Center for Enriched Studies too, and I'm a rising junior.
Awesome. Doris?
Hi everyone, my name is Doris Antunes and I currently attend San Fernando High School and I will be a senior in the fall.
Yes.
Nice.
Jennifer.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Camarena, and I attend Maywood Center for Rich Studies, and I'm a rising senior.
Thank you. Kelly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Ramos. I am 17 years old. I am a rising senior at Maywood Center for Rich Studies.
Thank you. Fatima.
Hi, my name is Fatima Cruz, and I'm a student at King Drew, and I'm a rising.
Sorry.
Sorry. We graduated from there, so we're like, oh.
Yes, we graduated from King Drew. Sorry, a little excited there.
To cut you off.
Oh man, go ahead, Fatima. I'm sorry.
I'm a student at King Drew, and I'm a rising senior.
All right, thank you. And then Diana.
I go to Maywood Center for Rich Studies, and I'm a rising senior.
Perfect.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone. Maywood is in the house representing.
Right.
So, all right.
We're gonna get started. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see. Okay, so some of the things to expect when leaving to college. Hopefully, when it's time for you to go, things will go back to quote unquote normal, and not doing the virtual online. But nonetheless, I think it's still important to remember that when you do leave home for college, it means that you're going to be exploring something new, a new place. Whether it's a different city, a different state, whatever you choose, which means it gives you the ability to make new friends, and you're going to have to make new friends because you want to start creating that support system that you will need, and start setting priorities for yourself. In a small amount of time, you'll face big changes, which they can be exciting, but also intimidating. And in our PowerPoint, we're going to go through how college allows you to do so much, yet it's the beauty of it, but also being able to manage how much you can do and should be doing. So this is a table of contents. First, we're going to introduce what first generation college students are, how to get help and support in school, in college, and how to manage your time, because balancing your college life is important. And then finally, we'll briefly go over dealing with finances, because you will be independent.
Sorry, guys, it wouldn't let me unmute. All right, so who are first generation college students? First generation college students are students whose parents or legal guardians have not obtained a bachelor's degree, or who have attended college at all. This means that you are the first person in your family, including grandfather, grandparents, aunties, typically, to attend a four-year university and to obtain your bachelor's degree. Is that the case for everyone in the room today?
Yeah.
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 All right. So I know that, like, as a first generation college student, you're like trying to figure all of this stuff out by yourself, and you're like, oh, this seems super overwhelming, and it's just like, I can't handle this. I have to figure it out all on my own. Nobody's there to support me. And that is not the case. So some of the misconceptions about higher education is that even though you're in college and you have a little more freedom, you might not have a curfew or anything anymore, doesn't mean that you're alone. College has a lot of resources, including your professors, tutors, counselors, advisors, your roommates, your friends, people in your class. That's all a part of your network, but it's going to be up to you to make sure that you're reaching out and finding out what resources you have available to you and actually using those resources. And then when you find out that you're struggling, you want to make sure that you stay on top of it and you don't wait until the last minute. You want to get on top of it. I was one of those students. I started struggling and I was ashamed and I didn't want to tell anyone because I felt like oh my God, I'm in college, like I should be doing better. Everybody else is probably doing great. Lo and behold, we were all struggling. And if we would have relied on each other to support one another, we would have probably done better and realized like, hey guys, maybe we should go get some help rather than just struggling in silence. So that's one of the things that I really want to stress to you guys today is that I know that you're trying to figure this out all on your own, and it may seem super crazy, but you have a lot of people and a lot of support and a lot of resources. So next slide, please.
Mhm. Okay, so here we're going to start talking about when we say get help and support. Every university is different. However, I can say that most universities have some type of, the same service to provide to students, which, all comes part of your tuition. So, if you just choose never to go see your counselor or never to go to the financial aid office or just, never take advantage of free tutoring, just know that it's something that, it is part of the student fee and you are paying for it. And so, but there's also other resources that are available to students from low income, first generation students, because they know that as a first generation student, everything is new to you. You don't have the same support as Sandra has mentioned, where, you can rely on a family member. I know your school counselors might be there. However, when you do go to college, you might feel like you're just thrown into the big pool, and how do you navigate when you're in there? And so these are some of the things that are implemented at all the colleges to help students feel less anxious and persist in school. So one of the first one is residential services, so dorming. In most dorms have RAs, which are known as resident advisors, and RAs are typically juniors or senior college students, which means they're third or fourth year students who live in the dorm, but they also act as counselors among other roles. And these are people who they can help you with, if you're having issues with your roommates, or if you want to, typically there's little like gatherings to help you mingle and get to know each other, especially with people who live on your floor, if you live like on a dorm hall or in your suites, whatever the case may be. However, take advantage that they are third and fourth year students. And so a lot of these kids have gone through a lot of things that you're probably going to go through as well. And so not just are they just knowledgeable about their job, but use them as, hey, what classes do you recommend? Like, think about it. These students are also, college students, and so they've kind of learned the ropes through school. What classes to take. Maybe they can recommend to you, what professors not to take, or just talk about scheduling. Trust me, if there are A's, that means that they really do, obviously that they do get the free housing, but they are there, and typically they're pretty good at communicating with your needs and wants. Another support is counseling. So mental health counselors are available to talk to you when you're having difficulty coping with stress. I cannot stress to you enough that as a first generation student, especially because if let's say you're the first one to go to college, we come from, different life experiences than those who come from affluent non-first generation students. And so life at home won't stop. And typically, if you come from a family where family is very tight knit, and they still expect you to have to carry out some family obligations, it becomes problematic when you feel like you're at school and you don't want to make your family feel like you don't care about them anymore. And how do you communicate, setting boundaries, communicate to your parents or your family members that it's not that you don't care, but I just can't go visit you this weekend, especially if you choose to stay in the LA area. For me, living, let's say 45 minutes to an hour away from home, there was times where I really couldn't go back home because I just had too much work to do. But sometimes I just put it aside because, for a birthday or for, oh, I miss my mom. But you're going to learn that sometimes you're going to sacrifice the things that you do love, and it will pay off, because it's best to invest in yourself, especially since there's, think about those who can't go to their home, they're out of state or just live too far away. It also helps you mingle and get to know and just, get to know people from different backgrounds. So going back to the counseling, they're there to help you to, whether it's personal conflicts or school is too hard for you. If you suffer, let's say, from anxiety or whatever it is, and you might not, know it right now, but things can develop because your mental health is going to be challenged when you're in college. And so definitely just seek support, even if you think that, nothing is wrong and everything's fine. College is very demanding, and especially because you're going to be, virtual. If, let's say you do go virtual when it's time for you to go, it's going to be a lot of adjustments. So why not talk to someone who's just there and help you, clear your thoughts. Health centers are also on campus, and this is pretty much medical services and education that are offered by doctors and nurses. These are real doctors, real nurses, who can treat you for illnesses, injury. You can get your immunizations. Like typically, like when you go to the doctor, it's just helpful that they're on campus so that you don't feel like you have to, if you're living on campus, you have to go to your, the primary doctor you usually go to. These are health services, and it's also part of your tuition. Lastly, on this slide, we talk about financial aid office. Please befriend the financial aid office. That's one of the main things, offices, buildings, that you should know where it is, and then know specifically who to go talk to, because each thing, like a loan might be a different office, work study might be a different office, grants might be a different office. And so you want to become familiar with the financial aid office, because there you're able to talk to financial aid officers who can help you understand financing and loan options. They also can introduce you to different ways to pay for school, alternative strategies that you can consider. Also, they can answer questions about the Federal Work Study Program, which is a program that offers students the opportunity to work part-time as part of your financial aid package. Also, some schools do have religious centers, whether it's a center where students can come or a church on campus, on and off campus, but primarily, there's students from that college who go, because religion might be a big thing to you, part of your life. And so you want to continue, to cater to your needs. Additionally, there's also an information technology support, so IT, where you're able to pretty much, if you live on campus, if you're having problems with connecting with the Wi-Fi, they're able to help you. Also, usually if you have problems with your computers, there's usually places you can go there that can help you, students who, and these are usually all students who work for these different support services, but there's also a lead, who's usually, their career, and they're very experts at this. For commuter services, so if you decide to, let's say, commute, let's say after your first year, you dorm and you don't like it, or whenever the case is, your third or fourth year, because most students tend to commute as they, go through college. There's different services for you, whether it's, Metro, the bus fare, there's like cheaper bus fare for you. There's van pools, which means, you pay a certain amount of money and there's like a pickup point. And then they take you to school, and then and then that same van picks you up where they drop you off at campus and take you back home. So that way, you don't have to deal with larger amount of people like on buses. And there's also just different services that they can help you with. Additionally, you also find career centers. You want to visit the career centers, and this is something that I didn't take advantage of. Even though I literally worked right next door to it for about 2 years, and I wish I had, because they really are there to help you find what interests you. They show you different careers. It's literally a career center. So you tell them, you sit with somebody, you consult with them, let them know what your interests are, and then they can actually help you find what careers, what majors to pursue that you might take interest in as a career. And also they can help you apply to grad school. They look at writing pieces. They help you with interviews, whether it's for grad school or, landing that first job after college. And then there's also even information and resources you can use as an alumni when you do go back to the Career Center. Lastly, there's other student services such as students with disabilities, international students, students who identify lesbian, gay, bisexual, foster students. There's tons. It's just a matter of really doing the research and asking the right questions to become familiar with, what does your school offer?
All right, before we jump into managing time, I know that was just a lot of information right there. So I want to ask you guys, like, what do you guys right now feel like is your biggest fear about going to college or being the first person in your family to go to college? And anybody can unmute themselves and answer.
Probably the finances.
The finances. And is it that like you feel like you won't be able to afford it, or just like kind of figuring out how financial aid and all of that type of stuff works?
Kind of like how financial aid works.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm sure that you've heard about the FAFSA, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that's step one to figuring out how all of that works, is doing that FAFSA application. And if you go back to the resources slide, so your first step is doing the FAFSA application. That's free. Typically, you'll either do it at home or you'll do it at your school with like your school counselor or somebody like that. So you will have somebody, and if they're not doing something already at your school, we'll be doing some sort of FAFSA workshop to help you guys when that time comes along, so we can walk you through that application. The application is free. The only thing you would really need for that application is your parents' taxes. So they should have they use the taxes from 2 years ago at this point, so we shouldn't have a problem with like, oh, did they file taxes or not, because it was 2 years ago, so they should have filed it by now. If they don't file taxes ever, that's not a problem either. We'll just check the box that says that they don't file taxes. I know sometimes that's a concern as well, like, well, what if my parents don't file taxes? What happens? That's okay. They'll just ask for like their estimated income. If they don't work, we'll just put that they don't have any income. And a lot of the times I know people fear like, oh, well, they don't work, this and that. I'm going to tell you guys, it's better to make less money. This is the one time where you want to be like, yep, I am broke, because the less amount of money your parents make, the more amount of money you're going to get in financial aid. And you get the most financial aid when you're coming straight from high school and going to college. Once you transfer or you get your bachelor's degree and you want to get a master's, they start to give you less and less money. So this is the time to take advantage of all the opportunities. So 2 grants that I want you guys to write down, just to keep in mind. We probably won't go into details about them right now, because that ain't the point of this conversation, but the Pell Grant and the Cal Grant. I want you guys to remember those, because the Pell Grant, automatically you get that. It's based on your income. If your parents make, I believe it's less than $50,000 a year, and you get that, that's $6,125 per semester that you get. The Cal Grant, there's different ones, but the main one you want to remember is the one that's based on your GPA. And that, I believe, is up to $12,000. And then it kind of just depends on your GPA, how much you are awarded. So, and that doesn't even include like any grants and scholarships and things that you'll be getting from the actual school that you're attending. So I don't want you guys to kind of worry too much about the financial piece of college, because it's really not as threatening or as hard as it seems. It seems like there's a lot, but it's really just one application. And that one application will be dispersed to all of the schools that you want to apply to. And then they'll all send you a letter back that says, hey, this is what you qualify for. And we will have a follow-up meeting when it comes to that time when financial aid letters are dispersed on how to read your award letters. And if we don't do it, I know your college counselor is going to do it. So somebody is going to be there to walk you through that process step by step. But once you make a decision on what school you want to attend, like I keep wanting to call you Miss Rodriguez, but Daisy just said, is find out your school's financial aid office. Because if you do have questions about your award letter, even after we explain it to you, you have to ask them those questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that help at all?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Daniela?
Yeah, it did.
Hello, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Daniela?
She said, yeah. Do you hear her?
Perfect. No,
Okay.
I didn't for some reason.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But yes, guys, we will have a financial aid workshop too, to go into more detail about that. But I just want to kind of give you a brief. But Daniela, is that it? Is everybody feeling that it was just finances, or is there other things? That's it?
That's it.
Don't be shy, guys. That's literally the one thing you don't want to do, is not ask questions if you have them. All right, time management. Let's go.
All right.
I have a little video for you, so we're gonna play that.
Make sure you check for your volume. Not sure how loud it'll come out from your output. Oh, wrong one.
I definitely met some of my best friends just through my freshman year dorm experience. It was definitely a brand new experience and people I didn't know all around me. But that was one of the best things about it, was that there were so many of us going through that at the same time, that everyone was really friendly and really reaching out to one another. So some of my best friends are definitely the people I met through my freshman year dorm, people who lived next door or down the hall and I would bump into or go catch a meal with. I think my favorite part of college has definitely just been the people that I've met. I've learned so much. I came from a pretty small high school and people were roughly of the same demographic, and that was pretty much all I had known growing up. And I think that at my university, I've really sort of broadened my horizons a lot and gained a lot of perspective. I've met so many international students and people from different backgrounds and people who are passionate about so many different things that I feel like I've learned just as much from the people around me as I have from my coursework.
All right.
All right.
So that video pretty much, just highlights what to expect from campus life. And as she mentioned, it's great meeting different people from various backgrounds. But when it comes to that, your social life, it's very important to consider managing time management skills.
Yes, and the reason why it's very important, obviously, because you want to get your work done and have enough time to do everything, but you guys don't even know. It is so easy to get distracted in college. Right now, your schedule at school is designed for you. There are bells that are ringing. There's a time that tells you when to walk to the next class, when to come back, lunch, all of that is set out for you. In college, you'll be creating your own schedule, which means if you want all morning classes and you can get into all morning classes, you could do that and be done with school by 1 o'clock or whatever time. If you're not a morning person and you want all evening classes, you could do that if you can get into all evening classes, or if you're like, I kind of need to get in the middle, however you want to set up your schedule. But what you want to remember, especially for those of you who are like, I want to go to school with my besties, we're going to be roommates and this and that, that is totally fine. But one, remember, you don't live at home with your best friend right now. So there might be some habits and some things that you learn about your friend that you did not know before. So sometimes that may not be the best decision for you. So just keep that in mind. Yes, you want to be with your best friend, but sometimes that might not be the best decision. not only because of not knowing them, but then sometimes that's just a big distraction for you. Ms. Rodriguez and I just told you that we went to high school together. A lot of people we went to high school with went to UCLA with us, and this is how the day would go. I have class at 9, and she has class at 10, and then maybe she's done for the day at 10, but I have another class at 12, and I see her walking back to the room, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just skip class and go with her. Because nobody's taking attendance. Nobody's gonna call your mom and be like, Sandra didn't go to school today. So it's gonna be up to you to really stay on top of yourself and stay on your schedule. Schoolwork is a priority. It makes your life so much easier to just knock out your work before you party, before you go out to that event, before you go to that concert that's free down the street, before you go get your feet done with the girls. Just get your homework done. Because the whole time you're at the concert or getting at the nail shop, you're going to be thinking about your homework anyway. So if you just get it done first, it'll be done and out the way, and you can enjoy yourself. School is a priority, but extracurricular activities, jobs, and internships are important as well. I know a lot of the time as first generation college students, you got to work and go to school in order to, if it's not even necessarily to pay for school, but just to like pay for maybe your books or just pay for your snacks or your school supplies or whatever little things that you might need. We both worked while going to school. It is possible. They do have on-campus jobs. I highly suggest that if you get a job, that you try to get an on-campus job first. And the reason I suggest that is because on-campus jobs obviously understand that you're a college student. So they'll be a little bit more flexible with you and your schedule versus a job at the mall that's like, I don't really care if you're in school, you need to be at work or you're fired. Most campus jobs, they only let you work a limited amount of hours, enough for you to be able to get a little change in your pocket, but not too much to where you're just fully focused on working. We both work for parking. That was a good and a bad thing. But the good thing was that on our breaks for work, they would drive us to class and pick us up from class, and we could sit in the booth and do our homework and stuff and also make money. So those are the kind of jobs that you kind of want to try to get, where it's like you can get a 2-for-1 going. And then handling your social life. College comes with a new social scene. You may be going to a new city. You might be living down the street. We're both born and raised in LA. UCLA is not that far, but I discovered a whole new life when I went to college. Use this opportunity to make new friends and explore new things. You can reinvent yourself if you want to, because a lot of the time, most of the people that you go to college with don't know you, but don't become too brand new to where you don't know yourself anymore. In high school, there's a clear line between school life and home life. But when you go to college, you live on campus, so you're constantly around your friends. And like I said earlier, that could be a good or bad thing depending on the group of friends that you have. So you want to make sure you're around a solid group of people, not only the type of people who are going to be like, hey, and I'm just calling out a name, for example, but hey, Jennifer, we need to study, but like the type of people who, if you go to a party and you get blacked out drunk, they're going to make sure you get home safe and not just leave you or just let other people take advantage of you or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't want to scare you guys or anything, but things like that are really important when you're going away. Especially, I know a lot of the times kids are quick to be like, I'm going out of state. And you've never been out of state ever in your life. And now you're trying to figure out how to go to school, how to pay bills, how to take care of yourself. You're in a completely foreign place. Like, you're gonna have to be alert and on top of things. And the people you surround yourself play a major part in that, because they could take you completely down the right path, keep you somewhere in the middle, or help you excel. And even if you end up at a school with a whole bunch of people you know in high school, make new friends. Please make new friends. Not go to college for 4 years and not make a single friend, because what was the point? I'm going to tell you guys right now, college is not about the degree. It's about the people you know and the networks and the connections that you make.
Thank you.
No problem. Any questions there? All right.
All right. Okay, so lastly, dealing with finances. We've stressed it enough that going to college means becoming your own, right? You're independent. Yes, your parents, whoever you grew up with are still going to be there. However, there's going to be times when you don't, you shouldn't be calling, hitting someone up like, oh, should I be buying this? You have to pretty much start making your own decisions, practical, realistic decisions. If you know that you have $50 left for the week and, you really want to go get your nails done, I think your nails can wait because you got to extend that $50. And so that can mean, buying yourself a snack for the week. Maybe you woke up late and you didn't, you weren't able to go to the cafeteria and get some food. So you got to buy some food to make it to class, because don't ever go to class empty stomach. That's going to be the hardest thing ever. So with dealing with finances comes with responsibility. You're going to be managing your own money and spending. This includes, if you do not have a bank account, I highly suggest you start thinking of getting one. Definitely by the time you are in college, before you start college, please get a bank account, because you're going to be receiving part of the financial aid. How it works is after the money is paid for tuition and all the expenses directly to college, you won't see that money. But let's say there's a balance left, right, from your financial aid that was awarded to you. It could be anywhere from $500 to $3,000. It just really depends, right? And you're gonna think, oh my God, $3,000. So if you do not have a bank account set up, direct deposit, it's going to be sent to you as a check. And that is so scary, because it's literally money, it's snail mail. It takes longer. Direct deposit literally hits overnight, okay? And it's right in your account, as opposed to a paper check. You're going to have to go, deposit into your account. You don't get all the money right away because it has to clear. It's just a longer process. And so you definitely want to get a bank account. And actually, when you go to school, there's a lot of banks on campus, whether it's Wells Fargo or Bank of America, who do have free student accounts. And with that being said, it's like, nowadays people do pay for their checking account, whether it's, a certain amount of money. As a college student, you won't have to pay, because they have a system in place with college students. You're gonna have to shop for your own food and also pay your own bills. You want to keep your finances in order by setting a budget and sticking to it. Because you can tell yourself, okay, like I have $50, but you might want to go spend those $50 on a nice lunch. But then, it's like, all right, I'm on Monday and I have to make it till Friday. And don't ever put yourself in a situation like that. Even if, all your friends are going and you just can't go, you got to stick to it and be honest with yourselves that you can't make it, because that one lunch meal, it won't kill you. You can join them next week when it's payday. And you want to keep track of how much you have in your bank account as well. So also, not all jobs on campus are work study positions. So with work study, it pretty much means that you are only, they pretty much only allow you to work the certain amount of money the school, I guess, tells your package you can work. So let's say you're offered $600 for work study for the semester, then you should only be working a certain amount of hours to only reach 600. So it could be a little bit limiting. Some work study though does allow you to keep working over the budget the school provided. Some work study jobs are only for work study students, which means if you are not a work study student, you won't be able to work that job. Some of these work study positions, they might be working at a school on campus, working at the post office. It just very depends. And so it's a perk too, because there's less competition. It's really only catered to students who are work study positions. And you'll know when you're a work study student, because when you're filling out your FAFSA, it will ask you, do you want to consider work study? And always mark yes, because at least that means that you will be guaranteed a job from the work study bulletin from your schools. Working on campus, off campus can be a great option too. However, as Sandra said, they're not as accommodating, especially when it comes to finals. One pro about finding a job on campus is that you are able to change your work schedule, because your final schedule will be completely different than your regular class schedule. And everyone is like that, so there'll be plenty of people to to cover, so that shifts could be covered. If you're lucky to get an internship, it can either be paid or unpaid. Usually they're unpaid, but again, if you get a paid one, that's great, because not only is an experience, but it's also money in your pocket. Whether it's on campus or off campus, they give you a chance for you to explore interests related to majors and careers. Does anybody have any questions?
About anything?
I do have a question, and I guess it's kind of like financial aid related, I guess.
Okay.
But it's basically like if you have a job, and like you're making money, of course, will that like affect your financial aid?
So if you have a job right now, right?
No, like if you get a job like in college.
Oh, it shouldn't, because you won't be making enough money to.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
honestly, yeah, if you get a job, do not get a full-time job. You will not do well in school, and I'm being honest with you. Please find a part-time job, and if you find a part-time job, you're not even, honestly, if you do file for taxes, it won't even be, don't worry, it shouldn't affect you.
Yeah, you
Oh, okay.
likely won't be making enough money to file taxes. And if you do file taxes, it would be just to get the education credit, really, which honestly would just get you more money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you won't be making enough unless your parents already make like an outstanding amount of money, and then you're adding to that, then it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. That was a good question. Does anybody else have questions? Okay. We're almost done. So the next slide, these are resources, and we're actually going to be posting this website, this PowerPoint on our website, which is theempowermentzone.org. And actually, Sandy, if you could type it in the chat box, please.
It's on the last slide of this.
Okay, it's on the last slide. So on here, when you click on it, this is for the UCs, all of UCs, the University of California. This page, if you were to scroll down, and this is for first generation students, it's a resource. You go ahead and you see here that you see all the UCs here. Let's say you get into Santa Barbara. You go to Santa Barbara, and then it navigates you to the page for UC Santa Barbara, a first generation resource page. And here you're able to find stories, contact partners, just different resources for first generation students. And also, let me see if it takes me here back. So let's say then I wanna, you just go ahead and play around with it. Let's say, for Berkeley, you get accepted at Berkeley, and you wanna go to Berkeley first generation, and then here you could see the resources, whether it's Academic Center, the Connect, EOP, the Educational Opportunity Program, the Dean of Students, just different resources available there for all first generation students. These resources are really made for students, like we said, who are first generation students, because you will need more support than, your counterparts who perhaps, have parents who did graduate from college and, they kind of know the ropes already. But it's okay. It's part of the, the journey, and there's beauty in the struggle, because it feels good when you're able to find the answers for your own questions. Yes, it can take a little longer, and it could be sometimes overwhelming. But just know that for the most part, every first generation student is in your same shoes. You come in and you might feel lost, but like we've emphasized, you need to seek help. So you cannot be shy. You need to start asking questions. And this is for the Cal States. It will direct you to this page where you see the map of California. And if you click over, each dot represents a campus. So this is Chico, and then here it highlights, for example, the food pantry, mental health services. I do want to emphasize that the food pantry, it's pretty much a food pantry. You walk in and it's either it's a small closet or a big room where people donate food. It could be canned goods, or sometimes there's like really good food. You walk in and you just get whatever you need. I know for sure UCLA has one. I attend right now Cal State LA, so I know they have one. But if you look, it seems like each CSU has a food pantry, because as I'm going over each of the cities, they usually have a food pantry. So that's something that you can also consider. I do want to stress that don't ever be too shy or, feel embarrassed for your situation, because that is your situation and that's what makes it personal. So yeah, these are two resources that I really, I want you guys to check it out and really play around with it and start becoming familiar with websites, especially at schools that you want to consider attending. For private schools, I'm sure that there's something there too. It's just a matter of you doing specifically the research for that one private school you want to go to, because, it's not like the system for the UCs and CSUs. They're not under all one because they're not state schools, they're private schools. And so you have to, do a little bit more digging. But if you even need help finding anything, you can definitely reach out to us and we can help you guys find anything you need.
Also, one last thing I wanted to mention, because this kind of comes up with a few students that I've worked with in the past. A lot of schools let you stay on campus during holidays and breaks if you ask in advance, because I know sometimes that's an issue, especially if you go somewhere that requires a plane ride home or whatever the case may be, or maybe even if it's a car ride home, but it's a few hours away and you maybe not necessarily can afford to go home, spring break, Christmas, this and that and that. Some schools will allow you to stay in your dorm room, or they may even have like a separate housing area set up specifically for students who need to stay over during the break. So that's something else I wanted to mention as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like even with this COVID stuff going on right now, I know that some kids, their school campus is their home. So if that's the case for any of you at any point, please, please, please don't be ashamed and be out on the street or whatever the case may be. Speak to someone on campus so you can get the appropriate help.
Yeah, usually for that, there's a housing office. Walk in there, and when it comes to also, paying for dorms, you can set up, there's payment plans. Trust me, don't be scared and think that, no one is there to help you. You have to go look, and I promise you that 9 out of 10 times you will find someone who's there to help you, and you're gonna be like, wow, I should have asked way before and it could have saved all this anxiety and saved yourself the cries and the tears.
Yes, because I cried a lot. But just remember that even though you're the first person in your family to go to college, you're not the first person in the world to go to college. So other people have had the same issues you have, and you'd be surprised. So there are resources set out there. And even if if maybe you are unique and you come up with a new issue, they will figure out a solution, especially if you're trying. Like, I'll give you guys an example. My financial aid situation wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. And then I needed an extra scholarship. I was scared about going into the financial aid office. One, because the line was super long. And then two, I didn't really know what I was gonna say. And I was just like, well, my FAFSA says this, so that's just what it is. Finally go into the financial aid office to realize that the person who runs financial aid, I went to high school with their daughter. Walked out with a $20,000 scholarship in 5 minutes. Like, you just never know, you guys. Like, you just never know. And after that, I never had to worry about paying for school again. Do not be afraid to ask for help. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know who might be your blessing. And also, don't treat people badly, because you never know who might be the person that needs to help you.
Yeah, be kind. But not too kind where people take advantage of you.
Right.
So again, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is our website. We're going to be, you can also find it on our IG page. And this presentation will go up hopefully by the weekend. But it'll be up there for sure next week. So just keep a lookout for it. If you still need, if you want to go back and look at it, if you have any feedback, we will love to hear it. You can also, reach us on Instagram and let us know, or you can just chat box here. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. If you guys don't have any questions.
Any questions before we hang up? All right.
I hope it was helpful.
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you for helping us out with everything that we need to know for college, especially since we're first generation.
Oh, thank you. No problem. That was really sweet.
Yeah.
No problem. We are really here as a resource, guys. If it wasn't for COVID, this presentation would have been in person, but we're trying to make it do what it do, but so really reach out if you guys need us, okay? Instagram, email, get on the website, whatever the case, reach out, okay? All righty.
All right, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.